I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is for Jay. Thank you so much for requesting this. If anyone's ever interested in requesting pretty much any type of video, you can either do so by joining my Patreon or request it directly via my PayPal. The links to down below will be both will be down below in the info box. If not, no worries, but if so, thank you. It could be pretty much any type of video. But he wanted me to review this film called Wise Guys. Now, Wise Guys, I believe I had seen this film a long while ago. I did remember that it starred Danny DeVito, Joel Piscopo, Harvey Keitel's in the film. You also have Dan Hedaya, who is a pretty good character actor. Captain Lou Albano, I forgot that he was in this. Yes, the wrestler. Captain Lou Albano's in this. And it's a comedy directed by Brian De Palma. And De Palma's not really known for comedies. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, this is the guy who did The Untouchables, Scarface, Casualties of War, great film. All those films I mentioned, great. I like The Untouchables. My favorite is Scarface. I even like Snake Eyes with Nick Cage, which Brian De Palma directed. I don't mind, was it Blowout with John Travolta? Terry, which I reviewed a month or two ago. Very capable director. I guess very, very early on in his career, maybe he did a couple comedies, but after Terry and did more success, this is, I think, the only straightforward comedy he's done. And I say straightforward as in, it's not a dark, depressing, grim, but some comedic moments. No, this is a comedy. Very broad, very silly. And in a way, I could kind of see why he did not do a lot of comedies after this, because while I did not hate the film, I thought it was an alright diversion. That's really the best way I could put it. It was an alright diversion. The performances are enthusiastic. You have Danny DeVito. Terry's a good chunk of the film. Joe Piscopo, he's okay. I think he's done better. For example, I thought he worked better in this film called Dead Heat with him and Treat Williams. For those who don't even know who the hell he is, Joe Piscopo was a guy who was on Saturday Night Live. Usually he was in skits with Eddie Murphy where they would play off each other. He was also the bad guy in the Chuck Norris film Sidekicks. I don't know what else he's gone on to do after that, but he wasn't in a ton of movies. And again, he does alright. There are times where I'm thinking, well, was he really the best choice for this? I know Brian De Palma, he was a big fan of a film, which I still have yet to see, with Michael Keaton called Johnny Dangerously. which had Danny DeVito and Joe Piscopo in it. And he's like, wow, I like that film. I like those two guys. They're going to be the stars of this movie. And the plot of the film is Danny DeVito and Joe Piscopo, they're good friends. They've been friends for a long time. And they're both low on the totem pole working for this mafia guy played by Dan Hedaya. Now, Dan Hedaya, this is a character actor who's been in a lot of films. He was in Daylight with Sylvester Stallone. I'm trying to think of what was the biggest role of his career. He's one of those guys that when you see his face, you go, oh, I recognize that guy. And he plays the mafia guy and pretty much has him doing the shit work. For example, he gives Joe Piscopo his suit. And Joe Piscopo's like, oh, wow, thank you. Only to realize he's only given it because they shoot him. And, oh, wow, the bulletproof vest worked. Or I would say one of the funniest bits of the movie is when they make Danny DeVito turn on the car because there's the fear of there's going to be a bomb. So the whole build-up and seriousness of Dan DeVito, seriousness of the music, Danny DeVito get into this and getting in the car. But then on the outside, everyone's leaving and it's in fast speed like Benny Hill. So this 360 shot where everyone's leaving as quick as a Benny Hill, for those who even know what the hell that is. Very, very, imagine they're on fast forward. Imagine everyone outside is on fast forward, but Dan DeVito's moving normally and he's turned on very serious. And then nothing happens and he gets out. And then when he gets like 5 feet away, then it blows up. I would say that's the best joke, best gag in the movie. The rest of it though, I don't know, I just didn't really laugh as much as I hoped. I think I felt that way the first time I saw this. That's why I did not remember much about this movie. I mean, it was interesting to see Captain Lou Albano, who I remember from WWF. He was in the music video Girls Just Want to Have Fun. And WWF back in the day, he was in the whole angle with Cyndi Lauper and Roddy Piper, and which led to WrestleMania 1. I think he was also on the Super Mario Bros. Super Show. And he plays one of our bad guys called the Fixer, he's cussing, and he brought a certain bit of energy to it. And I think Danny DeVito worked well with Joe Piscopo. I don't know, just something about it didn't click for me. I'm watching the film, and for long bouts of it, I just wasn't laughing. And that's hard when you review a comedy, because if comedy is subjective, how come this didn't make you laugh? I don't know. I mean, what happens in the development of the plot is they're supposed to put this money down at this horse race. Joe Piscopo's going to do it. Dan DeVito says, no, this guy always bets and loses. Let's put on this horse. Joe Piscopo says no. Dan DeVito says yes. So they do it. They lose, and then they realize that the bad guys had rigged so they would have won, but Dan DeVito and Joe Piscopo cost them like $250,000, so now they owe that to the mob. And so I thought they were going to do more with this subplot where they hire, without the other knowing, to be the other person's hitman. Like they tell Joe Piscopo, your job is to kill Dan DeVito, then you'll be fine. And then they tell Dan DeVito, your job is to kill Joe Piscopo, and then you'll be fine. I guess I thought a lot more was going to be done with that subplot. Where, okay, now this is what the story is. The ups and downs of these guys trying to kill each other, but then either something goes wrong or they change their mind or they just can't do it. But no, not really. So maybe it would have been better if they went that route. I don't know. Because then, spoiler alert, getting more into spoilers starting now. What happens is they steal Captain Lou Albano's car. They fuck with it since they hate the guy's guts, so they have it turned pink. They eat in the car. They fuck it up on purpose. They wreck it on purpose. They go to Atlantic City. They meet up with an old friend played by Harvey Keitel, who plays a nice guy in this. He's not a scumbag. He's, a nice guy. Which he's done that from time to time, whether it be from Del Sol Dawn, among others. Even Pulp Fiction, it wasn't that bad of a guy, really. So, and Harvey Keitel, he doesn't have a lot to do, but he does fine for what he has to do. And then they go meet Danny DeVito's uncle to get help. But then when they get there, he finds out that his uncle has died. And that Joe Piscopo's pissed at that. Again, especially in the third act of the film, there really wasn't anything I was laughing at. I mean, I don't know, maybe Brian De Palma at this point is just not the right guy to make comedies. Like, maybe if you took these two actors, or maybe if you keep Danny DeVito, and I think Joe Piscopo wasn't bad, but I don't know. I'm thinking of other people around this time you could have had. I'm sure I'll think of it eventually. If you had, I mean, Mel Brooks would have been more silly, but maybe maybe it would have helped if it was someone like Mel Brooks. Maybe it would have helped if it was someone like the guy who did See No Evil, Hear No Evil with Richard Pryor, Gene Wilder, which I love. I mean, it's not an awful film. I don't think it's a horrible, oh my god, oh yeah, I can't wait till this end type of movie. It's only an hour and 30 or so minutes. There are moments that made me smirk or chuckle, like the moment I mentioned where Dan DeVito has to start the car up. But for me, those are too few and far in between. Most of it is, okay, Dan DeVito is very enthusiastic. He's got energy to it. Joe Piscopo, he's okay. I could have seen other people that might have done the job better. But he does all right. I just didn't think the script, I don't even know if it's really Brian De Palma's direction. It's really the script that it just didn't get a lot of laughs out of me. I don't know how else to put it than that. And if you found it hilarious, that's cool. If you found it funny, that's cool. I mean, especially in the third act, there's really not a lot to laugh about. I mean, getting more into spoilers. I mean, yeah, it's kind of smirk-worthy that he finds out that his uncle's dead. You know, that but it wasn't a belly laugh or anything. And then Joe Piscopo being pissed because Dan DeVito had lied to him that he had talked to him earlier. And then Joe Piscopo was like, okay, I'm going to follow through. Because they still don't know that one hired the other to kill them. It's like, oh, now that finally comes back into the equation, into the story, after being gone for a good chunk. And then Dan DeVito made a plan with Harvey Keitel, which we don't know yet. So then Dan DeVito fakes his death, but we don't know it yet. And then Joe Piscopo tries to hang himself. And then I'm going, is this a fucking comedy? When it gets in this section, but I mean, maybe it's a movie that needed to be, maybe a different director who did some polishes to the script maybe could have made more out of this. I mean, there is a good chunk of people who like the film, but at the same time, the film did not do well critically. It died at the box office. People, including Brian De Palma himself, said they were not happy with the film. Apparently, Brian De Palma made the film and then no one really wanted it. Like, the studio didn't really believe in it. They showed it to, what was the director? Billy Wilder. And that guy directed many comedies way in the past. And he had said, it's a piece of shit. I mean, you could film whatever else extra, but you're still a piece of shit. And I don't think it's a piece of shit, but if you like Danny DeVito, you're a Joe Piscopo guy, sure, you give it a look, but I just... Or of interest, because it's one of those few Brian De Palma comedies, but it's really not for me. I would never see this film again. That's just my opinion. But thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.